Hi, Studio Art 1. I'm going to draw with you so that way it makes it a little bit easier for all these zentangle things that we've been doing. So this was last week's assignment. You guys can see it. All right, so we had like the shell looking one. Actually, this is a better one. The shell looking one, and then we had the fan ones that we worked on last week. So you've learned 2 zentangle designs. And this week I am going to teach you how to draw. They're going to end up being, this is my quick sketch of it. All right. They're going to end up being these little flowery looking things. They're supposed to be flowers. Just did a quick sketch for you guys and for myself so that I would remember what to do. So we're going to practice working on zentangles in circles. What you're going to want to do is trace something that's round. I'm just going to go for it, and it'll just make it a lot easier. What I have learned from just practicing on this project was that you should draw big, because those little teeny tiny spots are the hardest to get into. So Mrs. Comstock drawing on her shoulder again. Ready? We're going to draw 4 circles. I'm going to do big circles. It's going to make my life better. I'm going to connect 3 of them, and I'm going to leave one by itself just so that it's a little bit different. If you want to connect all 4, you can. But if we're talking about flowers, sometimes they grow in groups. I'm going to get rid of these little tails that I've been making on my circles. It's crazy. And then I'm going to draw another big circle. I'm going to draw, I'm going to draw one right over here, and it's going to be a little bit bigger and taller than the others. There's 4. That's all I want you to do, is just draw 4 circles, and 3 of them need to be attached. And from this point, we are going to make zentangle designs inside our circles. All right, so I want to teach you some new designs. The first one is I want to do this one that's all by itself, and I want to make it look like a little flower on the inside. So you know how the tulips, when you look inside them, they have those little flower parts. Okay, I'm not a science person. I can't remember way back to science, but we're going to put those inside this one. So I'm going to draw a curved lines that come out like this. I'm going to draw long ones. I'm going to have some that have branches out on them, almost like trees. I know how much you guys love trees. I'm going to try to draw this so that you guys can see. I'm going to draw this part. I think they're called stamen. And then I'm going to draw these pieces right in here. So it has like these little lines. It almost looks like seaweed right now. And then on the tops of them, I'm just going to make ovals. So ovals on the tops. So I'm just going to do that with this one. Just kind of keep this one as simple as possible. But this is still a zentangle design because we're creating a flower that's going to have lots of little line designs in the back. So in the background of this one, I'm going to fill in with lots of little tiny circles. And it'll almost remind you of bubbles, or even one of those little flowers that you know, like you blow and you make wishes on, like the dandelions. I call them dead dandelions, but I suppose they're still magical because you can make wishes on them. And your circles don't have to touch each other if you don't want them to. They just need to fill the extra space around and be smaller than the ovals that you made, so that way they don't take away from your oval. So we are drawing lots of little tiny circles. Okay, so at the risk of me, I just want to save time on this video. I'm not going to fill in the whole thing with circles, I don't think. I don't know how I feel about it right now. I haven't gotten very far. But I did want to show you that by making this different, so by making this little background type piece different than your design on the inside, you're creating something interesting. You're creating something visually interesting that people are going to want, like your eyes going to go to. this just being like plain behind it and all filled in black, that's fine. That would also look nice. But by adding these little circles, you're creating this little texture that'll make your flower interesting. And to finish off this flower, I'm going to bring the stem down. Let's see if I can do this just like this. I'm going to bring out this little leaf that comes in with it. And I'm going to bring my flower stem down the rest of the way. Same thing on the other side, except I want a leaf on this side. And you don't have to do them the way I'm doing them, where I don't. You can go back in and add your leaves afterwards. You don't have to make this like one continuous open space. But I like to be able to add all those little design pieces that come in with my flower. So by adding these little pieces, our little veins in our flower leaves, you're just creating this more of a flower type feel, even though it doesn't look like a flower. It's like an abstract flower. Okay? And then those of you that really want to be super exciting can add some stripes down the side of it. Almost like the candy cane trees in Wreck-It Ralph, except this one's got like a little stripe design up it and it's a flower. All right, so I would finish up all of these little circles in the background because it looks really nice. But like I said, for saving on time, and I know that you guys can handle this on your own because you guys are all amazing, I'm going to move on. All right, so our next flower design, I want to teach you those little squares that look like they're just continuously going inward. So in my next one that I'm going to do, I'm going to draw a straight line here. I'm going to draw a straight line here. I'm going to draw a straight line right there, and I'm going to stop right here. I'm not going over this area because this is a different design inside this because these two are overlapping. So in order for this to work, I got to draw a straight line straight up, just like this. So have like a square, or even if it's like a wonky rectangle, it will still work. So this is the design I want to teach you goes like this. You start on one corner and you draw a diagonal line that leads to the inside of another corner. And then at that same corner where you just touched the inside, you come back out and then you touch the inside of another corner. Then you come back out again and you touch the inside of another corner. It's going to look like your square is slowly going inside, like it's slowly going downward in a twisting motion. So once I get all the way around once, I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to start right over here. I'm going to go wide to skinny, wide to skinny, wide to skinny. This is kind of hard for me holding it this way, so that's why I start that one going downward. So then you just keep going around your square like so, and it creates this really cool, hold on here. If I don't pay attention, I tend to forget what I'm doing, or I mess up because I'm just not looking. Anyway, so you have this design where it looks like it's leading you inward. So then in the backgrounds right over here, I like to just put straight lines, like vertical up and down lines, because then it'll just keep your eye going straight to that square and you won't lose any of that design that you want everybody to go to. So this is what I did for this one. Now remember, every single one of these needs to be different. This is a project grade. So this flower is done. We're going to add another stem down here. I'm going to go a little ways and I'm going to make this leaf really big and touch the other one. And I'm going to bring it back up and I'm going to bring it down and I'm going to make another leaf come over here. And I'm going to make sure that it's overlapping because I want to add something a little bit more exciting. So this leaf right here is overlapping this leaf. And I'm going to bring this down a ways and then I'm going to put a third leaf on here and I'm going to make sure it's big because the other flowers are going to be behind this one because he's gigantor right now. Okay, so I have this going on. I'm going to do more designs with my leaves. And remember, this is a project grade, so take your time on it. I know you guys can do amazing things. You've already shown me this year that you guys are amazing artists and drawers. So I expect really amazing stuff. Even if you're at home, it's not a big deal. You just go and you relax in your room, relax on the couch, relax at the table. I seem to be sitting at the table a lot. And just draw. Get your project done, do a good job, and don't worry about it. So just like the other flower that I did, put some stripes on this guy. So I just put some little curvy stripes on him. So here's our next one. So I'm going to do this big area, and then I'm going to come back to these two little empty spaces right here. Okay, so this is kind of cool. I'm going to use the curly shell looking piece that we did last year, or last week, not last year, goodness, and put it right inside this guy because it's kind of cool. So I'm going to bring my curve down as if I was starting at the end, and I'm going to bring my curve back around. You guys should know how to make this because this was last week's project, and if you didn't do it, you need to get it done because I have been updating School Tool, and you don't want any zeros in there. You guys are way too good for zeros. So I'm going to make these curvy little lines with a little circle on the end of them. And that's how they went. So here's this one. That was easy cheesy. Nice little zentangle design. Now, before I go off and make another stem, I'm going to do these two little designs inside here. I want to break this one up because this is very geometric and this is very organic. I want to break this up into like a little curvy line that goes down the middle of it, just like so. I'm going to make those blobs that we made the very first week we were home. Well, it was a fun Friday drawing, so those of you who made blobs with me, you are ahead of the group. And those of you who didn't, well, here's your chance. So what you're doing is you're making these little curved lines inside this space. They don't have to line up, and they create that little blobby texture. So far, so good. Now, we're going to make another stem. This one I'm going to start on this side with because I want to make sure. And this guy is I think his leaves are going to be a little lower. There we go. And we make our little curved line inside our leaf. And we're bringing it back with our little angled lines. If you decide that you want to make designs inside your leaves, all the power to you. Let's see here. So zentangled art. It's supposed to be nice and relaxing. I suppose it's a little bit more relaxing when you're not following along with Mrs. Comstock and trying to keep up, right? So here is our next flower. One more to go. Remember, all of your designs need to be different. So I'm going to do this big area first. I was thinking of something a little bit different. I have all kinds of little designs drawn on this piece of paper over here because I like to sketch out and plan things. I thought this would be really cool for a flower, so I'm going to try it with you. It wasn't what I was planning on doing, but now that I look at it, I think you guys could handle that. That is easy cheesy. So almost like when we started with the box type idea, we're going to have to do that again for this one, I think. No, we're not. We're not going to sketch it in like that. It'll be weird. So we're going to start at the top. Let me see. We're going to start at the top. We're going to make little curves like this, and we're going to bring them down. And that's all we're going to do. Then we're going to go a little ways away from it, and we're going to start with the curves right here, and we're going to bring them down. And then that's it. Then, this is the part that gets a little tricky. We're going to go over here, and we're going to make some curves, and we're going to go until we're almost touching the other one. Then same right here. We make some curves. Okay. So far, so good. Next, we're going to do this again. Curved line, curved line, curved line. And then over here, curved line, curved line. I want this side to be kind of like the bigger side, so I try to keep it further away from all the other ones. And then this little spot's going to have like a little last minute one. Okay, so this is what I got. Here is the tricky, weird part. We're going to start at the top. We're going to make a curve that comes down and touches this guy. So we went all the way around, we touch this guy. Then this curve is going to continue on and touch the next one. And then it's going to continue on and touch the next one. It's going to continue on and touch the next one. Touch the next one. Curve right around. Same thing. You're going to do this all the way down until you get to the very middle and you can't put another one in. See, like that little guy, he already got eaten up. He's not even there anymore. So then this one and this one. So it looks like they're going inward. And I thought this was also really cool because I was thinking just as I was showing it to you that it would make a really cool flower design. So that little guy got eaten up. And then this one. So we have this design. So it looks like all these really cool circles are all stacked on top of each other and they're going into the distance, which I think is like super awesome. It is like an optical illusion in a zentangled pattern all in one. All right, so then this little space right here, I'm going to put triangles. Triangle, 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 triangle. And then I'm going to line them. I'm going to line this side too. All right, so we have this. So I have little triangles. None of my patterns repeat. Notice, none of them repeat. The only thing that's the same in this entire picture is the stems on the plants, on your flowers. Okay? We're calling them like lollipop flowers. I don't know what else to call them. So I'm going to make another big leaf that comes off. It's going down. Make another leaf. Oh, this one's getting cut off by the paper. That comes down. I'm going to do this side. Remember, this leaf is overlapping right there. I'm going to make this one have 3 leaves. It's hard to draw at the bottom of your paper. So I've got this so far. I'm going to go back in, add my designs, and then come back over here, add these ones. So I kind of actually like making the little leaf pattern. Works out really nice. I'm going to go back in, make those little stripes on here that creates that rounded look for him. It's nice curved lines. And maybe now that because I have some time, I can put in some more of these circles. But while I'm putting on these circles, this is your part that you have to do on your own. So we drew this together, this awesome zentangled flower section. So now what I would like you to do on your own is I want to see some shading or some filling in going on. For example, if you're going to shade over in this area, if you don't want to shade over in this area, go back in and make some lines thicker so that way they stand out. So I'll just do it on one so that way you can see. I want to show you the difference between thick lines and thin lines. We talked about all this stuff already, but just by thickening up some of your lines, you're really creating, I'm even going to fill in this little blank space that I have in the middle down here, so that way it looks like they're all going into the middle. But look at the difference between thick lines and thin lines. Go back in, thicken up some lines, fill in some areas. If you want to color this, that would be awesome. If you don't have colored pencils or crayons or markers at home, use your pencil. You have these amazing pencils. You can fill in areas to create contrast. For example, I'm not going to pull out my colored pencils right now. I'm just going to shade just to show you that contrast is really important in your artwork, especially with zentangled designs. They create like eye-catching areas. It makes an area pop out more. It makes it more interesting. And you want to have things that are more interesting and exciting to your visual, like your viewers. Creating something that's visually interesting is like the most important thing in the art world. You want to attract a viewer. You want your artwork to be seen. Even those of you who don't really want to take art and you're still in my art class, that's okay. You're still going to learn some of this stuff. So filling in some areas makes a big difference. Even if you wanted to fill in your little triangle pieces right in this area, you're going to create some contrast. You're going to make something visually interesting. So your job is to fill in some areas, make thicker lines, make some, shade some areas, make it exciting. So just by doing this, I've already created a more visually interesting piece right in this little area. If you want to fill in your little tiny hole at the very bottom of your, I don't even know what you want to call this, your descending square, go right ahead. I would fill in every other one of these lines around it to create that contrast. I'm only going to do one side because I do want to, this video is tending to go a little long, and I know you guys don't like long videos. We're not in class. It makes it a lot different. But just by adding that little bit of pattern to it, some texture, you're creating something. You don't need to go back in and shade your stems of your flowers unless you want to. You could go back in and you could shade just the stripes, or you could go back in and shade between the stripes. For example, if I were to go back in and shade between them, I actually really like this shading between them. They look very awesome. My messenger going off, if you can hear that. I'm getting a lot of text messages from students today. Yesterday I was in meetings all day from 7 o'clock in the morning to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I got back on and joined a paint party with the artist that I told you guys about in the other video, and set up a slot for all of us for spring break. So see the difference between shading the whole stem or shading just the little stripes, or you could just leave them. I mean, they look really awesome as it is. You can go back in and shade every other section of a leaf if you wanted to, which actually looks pretty cool. I mean, you could leave them, but you can also do this. It is up to you, but I want to see things shaded in. You are getting graded on it. It's a project grade, guys. So different ideas. Go back in, fill in stuff, make it awesome. I think I would go back in, but because this part is like all so textury and everything, I would just thicken up my lines that I have. And I'll do one just so you guys can see. Just thickening up a line is really going to create that standoutness that you're going to want in that flower. All right. Okay, one more time. You need to go back in and you need to fill in areas to create contrast. All of your designs in your flowers need to be different, even the spots that overlap, no repeating patterns. And you can add color if you would like. But I want to see contrast, thick lines, thin lines, filled in areas. I don't want things to be plain. All right. Make sure you take a picture when you're done and send it to me, and I will fill in the rest of mine and post a picture on your Google Classroom. Have a great week. Also, one really quick message. If you decide that this is not what you want to do, if you join the paint party on Wednesday, it's at 6 o'clock at night, so you have to remember to do it. If you draw with us at the paint party, then that can count as your project grade for our spring break week that we have to work through. If you don't want to do that, this is your other option. Okay? Bye, guys.